Hi, I'm your host Chris Coleman, and welcome to episode 2 of Champion Connections. Today, we have a good friend of mine, Joshua Davidson, the founder of both Chop Dawg Studios and Subtle. Now, Josh has a really interesting story. Started his first company when he was only 16, and it was by accident. So I'll let Josh take it away. Enjoy.
I've been an entrepreneur since I was 16 years old. It's not that long ago, about 5 years ago now. But basically, I've run 2 different businesses. We have Chop Dawg. So Chop Dawg is kind of like a hybrid between incubator meets development firm, where we help different entrepreneurs and people with awesome ideas make a product become reality. But the difference between us and like a development firm is we offer a wide range of services, and we're very transparent. So we actually work with our customers, and we actually help build a product. And we also offer, as I mentioned, a wide range of services, between web development, mobile development, video production, content writing, website design, website hosting, legal services, marketing strategy, branding. This huge pack of different range of services, and we literally kind of help catapult them, right? So people come to us just an idea, and from there, we're actually able to help bring their idea to life, help create an amazing company with them, build an incredible product, but as well introduce them to media outlets, Huffington Post, New York Times, things of that nature. Help introduce them to investors, help them try to raise capital out of an angel round, Series A, Series B type situation. And as well, introduce them to our influence, our social media outlet, because we have a couple 100,000 followers that listen to us at Chop Dawg, understand what we're doing. It's this incredible opportunity to help execute some amazing ideas that you already wish existed. There's nothing really cooler than that.
That sounds pretty awesome, honestly.
Yeah. We've done several amazing companies. In fact, this past week, it's been the most customers and most new clientele we've ever brought on in the history of 1 week. So it's been a little chaotic, but it's been awesome.
Congrats. That's a good problem to have.
That's the best problem. It's not really even a problem. I mean, we're ready to go. But it's been awesome. And then Subtle is the second company. This is relatively new. So Chop Dawg started out at 16. Subtle, we just introduced beta on July 1st. We're hoping for public launch before the end of the year, though. There's no real timetable on it because of the fact that, we go to beta for a reason, right? It's not like just calling it beta to make some people angry at us and for us to put a half-finished product out there. But so Subtle's actually not a new idea, at least not with us. So we actually built a prototype for Subtle on our own for Chop Dawg 3 years ago. So the concept behind Subtle was we used to do a lot of freelance website designers for website design, and there's this huge catch-22 in the industry, right? So the more websites you do, the more sites you have to maintain. The concept makes sense as a website designer, right?
Yep.
But the issue is the more sites you have to maintain, the less sites you can do. The less sites you can do, the less sites you end up going to maintain. It's like this ridiculous catch-22. And then look over on the end user, the actual website owners. Let's use like a pet boutique, right? They need to be able to update their website. They need to be able to send newsletters. They need to be able to control their email. They need to be able to store their important documents and files, communicate to their team. They need to be able to update their social media, understand what to do to market themselves better. They need to be able to manage all the contacts coming through their website, their orders. They got to be able to communicate. It's all over the place, right? And look at it, and we kind of looked at this, and I remember walking to one of our customers at the time, and they had like 30 tabs open, and explaining to me, spending $400 to update my site. I'm spending $100 with MailChimp to send out newsletters. I have a Gmail address. I have a Comcast address. I have a Google Analytics address. I have a Dropbox account that I'm paying $15 for. I'm paying $10 a month for Buffer, and I'm paying $20 for Hootsuite and $10 for Zendesk, and it's just going crazy.
Yeah.
And you kind of looked at this as like, holy shit, right? I mean, you have these proven products, which are way too complicated for an average individual to use. As much as, I feel that, we're technical. I think you can safely say you're technical enough. We're not the average. We're above average. I mean, we maybe are barely above average compared to where some people are, but we're definitely above average compared to the general population. And you look at it, there's a twofold thing here where these tools can make a difference. They can literally take a average small business and catapult them into basically a franchise or increasing their profits. And we've done that, for example, at Chop Dawg. And giving them these tools are huge, but they're so complicated and they're so disconnected, and it's a fortune when you combine everything. It just doesn't make economical sense, and for them, it doesn't justify taking the time to learn it. It really doesn't. So we decided, what if we can build a platform which can combine everything that you need to be successful online into one hub, right? So you can get your analytics, you can get your messages, you can get your emails, you can control your newsletters, you can control your address book, you can control your social media, you can update your website. I'm sure I'm missing a couple of features in there, but
I think I saw Facebook and Twitter in there.
Yeah, control your social media. I think I said that one.
Yeah.
The concept behind it is, what can we do to combine all of this? But that's just the start of it, because just combining all of it, well, congrats, you just took 20 different ideas and put them into one place. Congrats on you. Well, that's not the point. That's just the beginning of it. How can we make it where we're not only doing that, but do a couple things? How can we make it simpler without getting rid of functionality, but make it easier so anyone can understand it? Where I can have my mom and dad sit down and it clicks, right? Or you can have an average small business owner click. And the ability to give everyday people the same tools that we technical people take advantage of. And not just that, not only can you accomplish that, what if we can make it so it works on any device, any platform? So small business owners, entrepreneurs, website owners can literally anywhere in the world at any point in time control their online presence, control their website, control their marketing. All of this just through, the handheld of your device, the laptop, the 27-inch screen, whatever the case may be. And then above all, for the first time ever, we actually have all these things connected in one platform, right? I mean, think about it. This has never existed. So what we get to do now, which is above all the most crazy, amazing thing about it, we're able to connect these pieces and make them work together. And what I mean by that is, imagine you go on your address book and I type in Chris Coleman. Not only do I see every time Chris Coleman's ever filled out a newsletter, filled out a contact form on my site, I get a quick glance, every email thread I ever had with him, every time he's ever received a newsletter from me, the last time he's been on my site, what pages he's been on, where he's visiting me from, what's his average duration is. I can get all this information. Every time he's placed an order with me, what order information is that? All of that right there, just on you, right? Or if I want to send out a newsletter, instead of just sending it out to a mailing list, I can type in, I want to contact everyone from the city of Philadelphia that's given me an email in the last 30 days that's been on my pricing page. The ability to do things which, again, none of this doesn't exist. We're not creating something revolutionary in the sense of a new product. What we're doing is we're creating revolutionary as far as a new way of accessibility, the way of giving data, the way of using it to the advantage that anyone can understand. So we're getting these things that Facebook and Google, for example, made billions of dollars off of, and things which are too confusing for products but are offer such great utility. And we're simplifying without sacrificing any of the utility there and giving it to the masses. And it's just the beginning. We have this beautiful product we're proud of. We put into beta. We've been working on it for a while. But we have long goals with it. We want to go into mobile with it. We want to open up the API so others can develop apps off of this. We really have a long-term vision with where this can go and how this can change the way we technically use the web and eventually mobile. We believe subtle is literally meant to be subtle behind everything that's content consumption, entertainment consumption, to the point where one day we can have a more relevant experience for all the things we use in technology, where one day you can wake up in the morning and you're going to get only information that's relevant to you, that you care about, that you sincerely believe it's part of your DNA.
Definitely.
But your next door neighbor or fiance or whatever wakes up, has the same exact site, same exact mobile apps, completely geared towards her, completely different experience, right? And anything we do. I mean, it should be a cross-device experience, a cross-content consumption experience, and that's where we want to go subtle. But yeah, that idea originated from Chop Dawg, and both are kind of moving at full swing, but I think that's a good basic overview of both companies.
Cool. That definitely is. So, I guess the next question would be, one, let everyone know how old you are, and then two, how you even got started in this arena, because the tech game, we see it on TV. We're praising these guys that dropped out of college, that started things early, and now they're like multimillionaires. So obviously, you were doing this before like this was cool by the media, by social network made it cool. So when did you start? How old are you currently, and why did you start?
I think I'm 20 years old. I don't remember offhand. I need to grab my license. I'm 20. Yes. So kind of weird to go back in the beginning. I guess the best way to put it is like accidentally became an entrepreneur. At the time, I had no idea. So I grew up in the Jersey Shore, which
Jersey,
not like the TV show.
Jersey.
Yeah. Fun fact. I'm sure you realize this. Most people that say New Jersey are from New York. Just so I don't think there's this like weird common misconception there where it's funny. Anyway, so basically, as a 16, 15-year-old kid, the best place for you to ever get a job and make some money so you don't cry at night that you have nothing is go to the boardwalk, right? Think about it. The entire state's covered with boardwalks, nothing but jobs that they pay kids under a table crap, but that's what those jobs are for. Anyways, the highlight of being 15, 16 was like the highlight of our recession. It was terrible, and especially around me. So I'm located around Atlantic City, which is, for those that don't know, is a huge casino-based industry, right? And during this time, lots of layoffs. I believe, I don't want to make up a number.
It was a lot. But
it was like, it had to be at least 30-40% of the casino workers all laid off in that town. I mean, there's thousands of people all of a sudden without jobs. And what happened was these people needed jobs in order to keep a roof over their heads. They had families, mouths to feed, whatever. So the jobs are usually kids like me, punk-ass kids like me that would go and try to get a boardwalk job, whatever. These are already taken up by people who are way overqualified and making way less money just because they needed something, anything. They'll take 4 or 5 jobs at a time in order to make ends meet. So that, I remember I really wanted money at the time. I needed $50, whatever, since, that was the most important thing at the time in a 15-year-old kid, 16-year-old kid's life. And it kind of had the options there, You're like, well, this sucks. I mean, what can you do, right? So instead of complaining about it, I remember hanging out at the time with one of my best friends. He literally lived a block down the street from me, so I used to walk to his house every morning. In fact, I've known him for so long, I didn't even have to knock or anything. I'd walk in his house, grab something out of his fridge, and his basement was an entire room, so I'd basically grab an air horn and just blast it to wake him up, Yeah, but I remember we were talking about it. He was 2 years older than me, so he was 18. I was 16 at the time, and basically said, well, we need to do something because this is not right. And basically he's like, well, I'm good at computers to go to websites. Why don't we just try pushing that to businesses around us? They need us. It's like, okay. And I still remember. In fact, I have the image. I just found it like a week ago. So you know about the new Twitter feature where you can download your archive for Twitter? Well, I did that. It was one of the first tweets is a picture of the original flyer we did.
Jeez.
It's the greatest thing in the world. It's like this thing that says, starting at $50 get a website or whatever, like the most ridiculously low pricing ever.
Now, on a side note, you were on Twitter when Twitter wasn't even spelled the right way.
Yeah, I definitely have had a Twitter account for a while now. I was late to Facebook. It's weird, right?
Yeah.
So I refused to leave the MySpace era for some reason, but I was the first to jump on the Twitter. Explain that one. But I always loved the concept of Twitter. I really wish I was old enough to understand what Jack Dorsey, Ebb, and Viv were doing. I mean, holy crap. The concept behind real-time communication from anywhere in the world in short bursts is the most unbelievable thing I could ever imagine. It's so simple, but that's what makes it great.
Exactly.
But, I'm jealous. It's such a great idea. But anyways, wow, all my notifications go off. What happened was, I'm trying to lose my train of thought here. We pushed ourselves, and you can only imagine what a 16-year-old punk kid and an 18-year-old who doesn't know what a razor blade is selling to businesses for websites and computer services. It wasn't pretty. It actually, there's a fun story about that. I can go on 30 minutes just about that, but I remember that 29 of the days we got turned no. It was August, so it was the most brutal hot month. None of us can drive yet, so he didn't get his license. I was too young to get anything. So you can imagine walking around town just dying in Jersey summer. You're so this sweaty kid, whatever. The last day, I remember we actually had a Burger King. We had $2 left, and we both got drinks. So they're so thirsty. We're sitting there that's it. That right there is the last shopping center. Once we get nose, it might be it. There's nothing left. And I remember me being well, no, we're doing it. He's like, I don't know, man. This is too much. We're so close. I'm like, nope, we're doing it. So also crossing over here is a different choice. It's the most dangerous intersection of my town, right? So you have 4 different lights, everyone turning different directions. But crossed over, went there, and the last place we talked to, they were called It's Dog Dog World. Well, that's even a funny story in its own, but basically they said yes to us. All right, let's do it. And it's kind of rest was history there. What happened then is we did a website for them, and it really worked out well, and they started referring us, and those referrals started referring us, and I kind of call it the snowball effect initially. So it's like you have this little snowball rolling down a mountain,
Yep.
and then you know how it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yep.
The same kind of concept with our initial customers. And I mean, it was awesome. And for the first year, I mean, you can imagine 15, 16-year-old kid, we were making more money than we imagined could be possible and working with these amazing people. And, you know, it was before social network, right? So it was before entrepreneurs, I guess, were cool. But it was the most awesome experience. I think if I look back right now, I wouldn't say it's the most fun experience I've ever had because we weren't on a mission yet. We weren't trying to do something insane yet. We started a business just because we needed something for ourselves. So we solved our own problem, but it wasn't like we were solving other problems yet for other people besides offering website design services, really.
Yeah.
But it was definitely the most, I guess, not eye-opening. It was just the most unique experience because it was like that one part of your life where everything you're doing is new to you. And, you know, now it's everyday life. It's like that scene in the original Spider-Man where his DNA like gets sucked up into spider DNA, right? It's like that time where your DNA is starting to get sucked up in entrepreneurship. I think that's when you first taste that, you know, the first taste of success and you want it more so than ever before. That's like the first time you tasted it and that effect, right? You know, entrepreneurship when you're on a success run definitely feels like a drug. And, you know, people want it more and more. It definitely is a drug if you think about it. People get into the ultimate depressing craze and they're not getting it. But, you know, that was definitely that first time there where that was happening, and it was awesome. Kagan ended up leaving. It just became me, and really what was the turning point was there were two big turning points in the course of 2 years that made it from Chop Dawg, which was just website design, to Chop Dawg, which is catapult for businesses. So about 6-8 months later, after Kagan left, about a year and a half into it, the Press Atlantic City is a huge newspaper, South Jersey. So imagine all of South Jersey, basically from Philadelphia to the Jersey Shore, all the way up to basically like the halfway point of Jersey where New York kind of takes over. New Jersey's really like, South Jersey's like the suburbs of Philly, and North Jersey's like the suburbs of New York. Basically all the suburbs of Philly. What happened was they wanted to do a story on me. I was like, oh, that's weird. So, all right, cool. Yeah, I'm down. You know, they had a reporter come in and interview me in my bedroom, which was weird, and a photographer in my bedroom. First of all, that's the most awkward thing in the world.
They couldn't even give you like...
was awesome, but, you know, the room is like even smaller than what I'm in right now. So you could imagine. And there's actually a funny story about that, but if you ever see the pictures, it's the most hysterical thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
That's actually the first... how I found you after you followed me on Twitter. I watched that video. It's like,
was it the NBC one, or because there's a couple of different things?
I'm not exactly sure, but
well, that's funny. NBC comes up right after, so it might be similar to it. What happened was, they told me it was going to be in the Saturday paper. So I remember waking up on Saturday and nothing was there. And I was like, "What the hell?" You know. But the next day, the Sunday paper, it was there, the front page of business section of the Sunday paper, and you know, holy crap, the Sunday paper, right? It was a front page. You know, there's my big ass face and the homepage, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I still have it hang somewhere. You know, it's kind of unique, right? Like then, how much I like cared about, like, oh my god, there I am. Now it's just like it's part of it. You gotta play the game. You know, you gotta be able to talk to media, talk to them, all what's going on. But during that time, it was eye opening. Like, oh my god, you know, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I remember that afternoon, I sat on my computer, nothing. I was like, wow, I'm not bringing in any single leads from this. Why? What happened? So I wake up the next morning, and I'm still in high school at this time. I remember this is Mac Mail. You know how Mac Mail, like, auto updates every time a new email comes in? I remember turning on my computer, and 120 other messages, and 121, 122, 123, 124. I guess Monday morning, everyone getting back to work contacted me. I was, like, sitting there, like, okay, just watching. And think about it a second. I remember the number exactly. It was 271 leads contacted me that day. Think about that. 271 people wanted a website. It was just me at the time. So I remember playing hooky from school that day. And I basically sat down. I was like, all right, well, I can do one of two things here. I can either hire, or I can raise my prices so the top people can afford me and the rest can't. And I was like, oh, I'm going to hire. This is the first time. I think this is also important. This is the first time I really recognize an opportunity. I think most people wouldn't recognize opportunities like that, but that's the difference between entrepreneurs and everyday people. I think it's one of the reasons why not everyone's an entrepreneur. I saw an opportunity and kind of naively, optimistically look through the risk and just look through, all right, let's hire and get this moving. And best decision I ever made, but that was the decision I made at the time, and still had no idea what the hell I was doing. But, it kind of went from there. That's where I forced myself to hire, find some incredible people who fortunately are still with us to this day. A lot of them. I was very lucky that I was a very pain in the ass when hiring then, that it's still the people there, they're part of the core of what we're doing now. And they get what we're doing. Yeah. So that was huge. I had no idea what I was doing then, but hired. And it was fun. It was a fun time. It was hiring one day. NBC did a story on me, South Jersey, then NBC Philly did a story on me, and then another newspaper. It was just like this constant media roll. And, within a year, we grew from just myself to, I think, 10 people. And our profits went, I think they grew about 4,000% in just like 6 months. Yeah, it was definitely the second most sleep deprived part of my life. The most sleep deprived was probably this last 8 months. But it was insane. It was very humbling. But what got us to where we are now, because we're still like a website design company, was about 2.5 years ago, a guy came to us and he was like, I want to make a web app. Do you guys do that? And we're like, yeah, we can do it. We've never done it before. The guy's like, all right, awesome. It was a social network to Atlantic City, But the coolest thing about it is it was the first time we ever did everything, right? So at the time, we were trying to connect pieces. Well, we can do branding. Eddie is really good at branding. Let's bring him on and see if people buy it into it and stuff like that. But it was the first time we did branding and web development, website design, built a product, build a brand, help literally build a marketing strategy. And we remember sitting down and saying to ourselves, holy crap. So the same amount of time it usually takes us to make an average site, we just built a whole product, a company, a brand. It was an eye-opening experience, and as well as seeing how it changed the life of someone where he actually had his own company. And it was kind of there where it clicked on all of us, like, let's look into this, see what is there. And, just really researching and talking to people, things like that, I kind of came to the conclusion that for every technical person that has an idea, right?
Yep.
There's 10 non-technical people that have an idea.
Yep.
And there's so many amazing solutions out there. Y Combinator, 500 Startups, Techstars, Dream Adventures. I can keep going on. The issue is you have a better chance of most likely to getting into MIT than you do in getting these incubators, and you got to be technical. So there's this huge market. And there's only a couple big players out there, really. You can look at BetaWorks, but BetaWorks, for example, is not geared towards helping necessarily. That's helping technical people. It's like a tech incubator even. You have Zur, but they charge the most outrageous pricing. Or you have these huge development firms, or people are going overseas and getting these crappy products because A, they don't know what they're doing, and B, they're going to people that they don't know what they're doing.
I attest to that one.
Yeah, so we looked at this and we're like, we can disrupt this industry, and we can actually help people build products that we truly care about and make something become a reality. And it's been a couple years, but we basically tied in the pieces, and we really got our vision down, our mission there. Like I said, we're very fortunate. Web development is our forte. We do mobile development. I mean, we actually, even though web development, we probably have more developers on, mobile development is what makes up most of our revenue. So, but yeah, we do mobile development, iOS, Android, web development. We do branding. We do UI, UX. We do video production, which is awesome, content writing. We even have legal services. We literally can help businesses get registered and help them get a terms of service, privacy policy, copyright policy, understand where to go. And we're in the middle of trying to figure out, we're still looking. We're trying to get our accounting system set up where we're going to be able to also offer accounting. But basically, we want to be this one-stop location to help literally anyone that just has an idea and is truly passionate about it.
That is
make it
awesome.
Become reality. Yeah, and the coolest thing is we don't take equity, right? So we don't take any equity, and we only are compensation-based, but we offer more than what people offer for compensation-based. And we're offering the same level of work that most people that will ask for 40-50% of equity will do.
Yeah.
And we're exploring more options. One of the things we want to do in the next 2 years is we want to be able to invest into different companies as well through Chop Dawg, and start doing a hybrid incubator that way as well. We're trying to keep solidifying and fortifying our services here at Chop Dawg, but it's this really interesting thing that we're doing right now, and we're absolutely loving it.
So let me ask you this: tying back to when you first started at 16, a lot of people think that like Mark Zuckerberg woke up and was like, "Oh, I know how to program websites. I know how to build mobile apps." What did you do in order to teach yourself this skill, this talent?
I had no life as a kid. As a fat kid, you have no social life. So I learned website design relatively young. I'm nowhere near as talented as I think people think I am because I started. Trust me, I'm very good at understanding what goes in there, and I can read code, and I'm pretty good at understanding design. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've been called some nasty things for how detailed I get my design that I won't say.
Sounds like Steve Jobs over there.
I guess a tiny bit, right? It's all about presentation. But besides that, the big thing there is, I had this understanding fundamental, but my developers and designers are well beyond the skill level I could ever have, and it's a good thing. If I think you're hiring people under you, you're something wrong. You're hiring people who are at such a level you can never catch up to them. That's the point. So we have that, and A+ players attract other A+ players, and that's the goal. But the fact that I can understand the coding world, and I can understand the designing world, and I have that fundamental in the business world, I can communicate those three, because I think the hardest thing in this industry, right, is you can have the most talented designer in the world, they won't understand how to code. And you can have the most talented coder in the world, but they don't understand design. It takes a really special person. It's kind of like baseball, a 5-tool player. It takes a really special type of person to have all those tools on them. But that's okay, because if you set up your team right, you can set up a team where people will just focus on their one specialty, and that's what you need. And that's what we've done, because it's a lot harder to find those perfect specimen, because they don't really exist, and you're just going to shoot yourself in the foot. But you can set up a team of amazing individuals who are really good at their specialty, and for their weakness, you have another person that can complement that weakness with their strength. They can kind of just connect, and those have a perfect blend of veteran guys who've been doing this for years with so much newcomers who are so talented, so much potential. Now, we have one individual who worked with the Department of Homeland Security as their chief programmer. Another individual who sent satellites into space of Lockheed Martin and ComSat, right? And another individual who developed an entire brand behind Stack Overflow. I mean, we have this huge credential, but on top of that, we have a couple of individuals who they just have so much potential, and they're beyond anywhere where anyone ever would have been at their time in their life. And my philosophy is you surround them with such key people who already have a work ethic and understand what to do in the real world and what to do to solidify themselves in this industry, and you surround them with that. Two things will happen. They're going to, not so much, they're talented. This is a talent-driven field. You're going to establish that work ethic in them. You're going to establish that key eye for attention that, they wouldn't get anywhere else. And that's kind of the mentality we use. We're very family-oriented, though, both Chop Dawg and Subtle. So we are very, very tough in hiring. When we do look for someone, we make sure to fit our culture. And, we've got rid of people who are absolutely amazing just because of the fact that they don't fit our culture. I mean, culture is number one to us. And, we're very fortunate where it sucks to say this, too, because I think it should be opposite. But employers in technical field have such an advantage right now, unfortunately, where they are going to bring in flocks of developers and designers right now if they're looking for someone, just because, enticing jobs will do that for them. So it's our job to ensure that we find the right people who are going to be here for a long period of time and that are going to have the right detail and fit along. And, it's something that we pride ourselves on. It's one of the reasons why we build such beautiful products and can turn around such aggressive time frames and offer some lower pricing than our competitors, and why we can go ahead and build Subtle and try to change the world, because we have a team like that. I think that, it also comes more to play. Our business model, how we do things, the way we approach things, the way we think about things. But it starts there. There's no doubt about it. It starts there, and we've done a pretty damn good job at it. trying to get it as perfect as we could.
Definitely. So, what did you do personally, being 16, getting this business pretty much like thrown in your lap, to help build like your mindset, to help learn how to run a business? Because once again, you just don't wake up and, oh my God, I know how to run this business.
It's a good question. I've always been very obsessive. So what I mean by that is not a negative term at all. I ran a website before I built my own site. As a kid, when I got focused on a task, I would spend weeks on it. There's a picture of me, I think. Do you remember Connect Roller Coaster? As a kid, there was Connect Roller Coasters.
Yeah.
I convinced my parents to buy me like 10 boxes as a kid, or like everyone to give me presents. And there's a picture of my room where I was in there for like 2 weeks, I would not leave. The entire room was one giant roller coaster. I worked flawlessly. I've always had that like long-term mindset and just focus and block out the rest of the world. And I think that came into play at an earlier age, setting the foundation up. It's the same thing now as Subtle, right? So we just completely rebuilt Subtle from the ground up to make it into its actual own company, its own product from a prototype that we built. And I can't tell you how many countless sleepless nights we've had and how much times we've gone battling to make it the best product possible. One of the things we talk about ourselves at Subtle is, we're all on the same page, we're all on the same goal with it, but can't be afraid to support what you truly believe in. So one of our rules is that you don't need to be afraid to go and tell everyone why the hell you believe in something, why you're questioning everyone else is wrong. And you can do whatever the hell it takes to make that happen. But at the end of the day, the second we're done there, go get a beer with your teammates, go eat a steak, go relax. Yep. It's not like this hostile work environment by any means, but it's a culture full of people who question the status quo and truly believe that they can do something amazing. And it's the same type of culture we try to do everything, where this is a group of people who truly believe that they can build products that can change the world and do things which are beyond that of already exists, the best way to put it. And we're lucky. We have such a passionate group of guys who are so insanely talented. And, I think they have the same, I think setting up that foundation at an early age help relate that foundation to the early employees and the early team members, and the early team members relate that to the newer team members, and kind of just trickle down, right? And also, I think at a young age, when we started adding people to the team, giving them freedom, letting them do their own thing and giving them really full control to make mistakes and do things. I mean, I think that's one of the other things too is, don't disrupt them. These are talented individuals. You're looking for the most talented people in the entire world. Let them do their thing. Don't constrain them, because then you're not going to get any talent out of them, and you're not going to make them happy, and they're going to want to leave. So the fact that they can work their own schedule with us, as long as they're meeting deadlines, is the only real thing, and meeting meetings, like that's the only time you have to be in the time. Work on your own schedule and work wherever the hell you want to work, and work on whatever the hell you want to work on. I mean, you get to pick and choose what projects you want to be on. I mean, the fact where you have this full freedom with your job and basically the ability to figure out what you want to do. It really gives people this freedom that you really can't get elsewhere, and allows you to produce the best work because you're actually passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah. So pretty much, it seems like at an early age, you obsessed over a certain task that you wanted to learn or do. You learn pretty much the desires that we as humans want. It's not always about money, but it's about working on things we're passionate about and giving space to do it. And you believe in challenging the status quo. So
I think the reason why we're so passionate is money is important. So I think there's this like stigma right now with this entrepreneurship being cool that money's bad, right? But that's stupid. I mean, you need to have a livelihood, and
you do.
And technically speaking, money is actually a form of respect, right? Because if people are willing to pay you at a certain value, it's because you're producing that value into the marketplace.
Yep.
It's a famous Jim Rohn quote, but it's true. You get more respect, the more money in there. But if all you're doing is going for the money, you're not going to be successful. If you're going in it because you support a greater cause where your name can be in the history books, or your name, what your input is in a completely new product that is in millions of people. I mean, it's as simple as one of the reasons why I just talk to entrepreneurs all the time. Even if they're not going to work with us, well, some people ask me, like, why are you wasting your time? It's not wasting my time. You know how cool it is? talking to some entrepreneurs and just telling them some advice, things that I fucked up on, so hopefully they can mess it up, so they won't mess it up. That's awesome.
Can you give an example of a failure?
Oh God, we once spent every single dollar we had on sales and marketing. That was
holy Christ.
Yeah, you can imagine every earning we had just gone. That was before we pivoted to this direction, but it was bad. In hindsight, it's the greatest thing that ever happened to us. It was we called it $20,000 lesson because it cost us $20,000 all gone. But in hindsight, it's the greatest thing that ever happened to us. I think it's really helped us stay grounded. But it's kind of cool. It's like you have to talk about these lessons to people, right? When they come to you, you're like, "Oh my God, don't do that! I did that! Don't do it!" Trust. But the reason too is sometimes you can tell them 10 ideas, right? You can tell an entrepreneur 10 ideas, and if just one or two of those ideas become into their product, or whatever. Technically, it's like part of your DNA is now in there forever. Like you've passed it on, or if they end up being successful because they're going to go down that failure you told them to, and maybe that failure is what would have driven them out of business, whatever the case may be. It's those type of things. It's awesome. That I think that it's a totally unique experience. I think most people, it's weird. I'm a very long-term focused guy, but also you can look at the short term to an extent. But I think long-term awareness is something that most of the population, most people in the world don't have. And it's a really sucky output because you have a long-term focus and you can tell yourself, here's where I want to be in a year, 5 years, 10 years. Here's where I want my company to be in a year, 5 years, 10 years. If you can tell yourself on all aspects of you, personal development, company development, financial development, whatever the case may be, you're going to be more likely to be successful and you're going to be more likely to pay the price to get where you want to go. And people don't do that. And I think this generation, as tech especially, is going to start noticing that that's the way to go. And that's, if you look at the most successful people in history, that's the outlook they've always had. So instead of looking at the same output where we got ourselves in this mess as an economy and the people who are here who, you look at and you shake your head at, look at the people who are truly successful. Look at the Elon Musks and look at the Peter Fields and look at the Walt Disneys and look at, the Nikola Teslas, the Thomas Edisons, the Steve Jobs, the Bill Gates. Look at their work ethics and what they did. Trust me, some of these guys aren't even the hardest workers in the world. They're just smart.
Yeah.
Or they work smart. And these are the type of things that, that could change the entire direction.
There's a quote that says, I realize I'm the laziest person in the world. That's why I'm willing to work my ass off so I can be lazy for the rest of my life. So,
what is it? It's working smart, just being lazy intelligently.
Yeah. All right, so I know we're running out of time. The last thing is, if you have advice for people that are looking to start a business, looking to break into the music industry, any type of genres, if you have one piece of advice you can give them, what would it be?
If you're going to the music industry, be talented.
Hey, it's not all about talent these days. If you can market yourself,
if you can auto-tune well, you're good to go.
That's very true.
Or have the right connection, right? I think networking is probably, this is the most cliche, but let me explain how I'm going to make this sound non-cliche. Networking sounds so analog. Talk to this person, he's going to get you where you want to go. Well, complete bullshit right there. That's your approach of networking. You're going to fall flat on your face and ask why no one cares about you. Networking is, my opinion, is growing your reach of a network of individuals that are better than you.
Yep.
Or have a skill set you need. And having those people there to communicate with. From there, you can trust that the dots are going to connect because hopefully they're going to talk to someone or they're going to talk to someone, introduce you, and continue that network. A self-sustaining network of new people every day without you even realizing what you've implemented, that seed. And over time, not only do you have a network of strong-suited individuals who can give you what you need, they're going to give you whatever you need, whether that's work or a job opportunity or advice on something that you could have never imagined or experienced or whatever the case may be. And I think what happens is too many new entrepreneurs, again, just focused on just them and them and them and them and them. Well, you're not going to go anywhere. If you truly just care about other people and you truly really believe in what they're doing and support them with that, touch base with them on that and help them out wherever possible, the value is going to come back to you. It's the same principle, in my opinion, as compensation through money. You get back X amount of dollars for X amount of value you give. Well, if you're giving X amount of value to people in terms of feedback, respect, advice, connections, whatever, you're going to get that same amount of value back. I think if you look at it, everything's the same principle where whatever you give, you get back. I think there's really nothing in life where you don't see that. I mean, whether it's a relationship with someone, a business relationship, working, you're always going to get that back. I think it's this even keel philosophy the world has that, you work your ass off, you'll get that return back. You work as smart as you can, you'll get that return back. You sit on the couch and do nothing all day, you're going to see what you're going to get back from that, right? But it's all comes back to the simple fact that networking needs to be approached as a completely different philosophy than what people do today. That's why I can't go to networking events, right? They're just terrible. Well, most networking events.
I hate them.
Hi, my name is Bill. Here's my business card, right? And they're like looking at it like, okay, thanks, Bill.
You don't build any type of relationship.
Yeah, exactly. It's this really condescending thing, and part of it is the old generation. As much as I hate to say it, it's this old mindset that's not even outdated. I think it's been always been fundamentally flawed, right? I can't tell you, for example, one of my good friends of mine purchased as a customer, right? And we ended up just talking at Starbucks, and we talked for a couple of hours. And we ended up actually maintaining a personal relationship, and his business flourished just as mine has. And we've actually mirror imaged each other in many ways, so we've always been able to bounce back and like, hey, remember that time? Yeah, I remember that time, right? Or it'd be like, hey, I'm having this problem. No way, me too, right? And also, I guess it goes into the second thing, which is, I've already learned this pretty quick. Every major issue you have now, somebody's already gone through it. I think that you don't realize it, but there's no real situation that no one's ever experienced it before. And just asking, you can figure out anyone who's been able to figure out a solution to that. And I think as an entrepreneur or a CEO or a leadership role, you have to be willing to talk to other people. I think that too many people are just channeled in right now, focused too much on just this one piece, this one thing, and they don't realize there's so much better options just around you that is going to basically take you around the problem instead of right into it. And, it comes just back down to fundamentals, which is just be a good person and be willing to talk to people and enjoy life.
That sounds like a great way to live. I mean, I always think like this, the worst that can happen is nothing happens.
Exactly.
That's the worst that can happen.
Or I think that also, another thing I like to ask myself is when crap gets real and, it sucks, ask yourself in 5 years, will this even matter? And 9 times out of 10, you're going to say no. And usually right there, all the stress, everything's gone, right?
Yep.
You can think clear. It's a roller coaster, but I think sometimes there's life hacks that I think too many people make it like it's the Titanic shipping. It's like sinking. That's kind of alarming. If these people can build big companies, what the hell are they going to do in real situations, right? If, just microscopic startup situations can cause people to break. Just imagine, if they grow a company the size of Instagram or hell, even like go to the size of Apple, what could happen? It's a learning curve and people need to take experience from it. But I think that this generation is the entrepreneurship generation, but it's also, it's quality and quantity. We have a lot of quantity. There's a lot of quality in that quantity, but there's a lot more just floating around. There's a reason why not everyone's an entrepreneur. It's because not everyone can be cut out for it. And I think over the next few years, we're going to see a downgrade in entrepreneurs, in my opinion. I think that you're going to see the quality people stay, the people that know this is their passion, and the people who did this because they thought it was cool or they thought it was the best route for them are going to realize that it's a lot more than just running a business. It's just a start. The people who are going in is to be a 9-to-5 job don't realize they're going in for an 8 to midnight job. This is their DNA now. And a lot of sacrifices have to be made. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the next 5 years. So I have a lot of predictions between that and mobile technology, and but that's another conversation.
Yeah, we can talk about that because we love mobile. That's like our best friend.
Oh, it's going to be interesting right now, man. We're in the bubble. I think we're in the start of the bubble.
He's predicting the bubble. So if you are a budding entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur, this is a guy that has years of experience. You might as well get in before it bursts. Because once you're at the top, and the bubble bursts, you're at the top. So
you also be the one highest to fall.
You could be, but hey, at least you can say, I'm at the top. I know how to get back to the top.
I think it's about the issue is with mobile. A lot of people are in the game now. It resembles a lot of website in the 90s. Remember the website bubble?
Oh, yeah.
Look at it right now. Only select few can do it. People are trying to do these huge ideas. They really haven't monetized. I mean, look at these billion-dollar valuations right now. The companies that can't even produce a damn dollar.
Snapchat.
Yeah, exactly. But it's amazing to me this is happening because this is how the web bubble happened. If you remember, web bubble, a lot of people threw a lot of money at things that could not make money. And what's next thing you know, it's the collapse of it. It's just an over-evaluated market. It's going to pass. Mobile is going to be here forever, so I don't want to ever create that illusion. But just look at the signs from just the web. We're in the same exact thing. And it amazes me is, look at some of the investors doing it. It's the same exact investors that made the mistake the first time around. But I'm going to be curious. I really think the next 5, 10 years tops, we're going to see the exact same thing that happened in the late 90s, early 2000s. It's never going to be the death of mobile, and the companies who prove to actually offer a true product, a true company, are going to be fine. But, good point, Snapchat, right? They got $1 billion valuation or even more than that for a company that can't produce a dollar. And Waze or whatever the hell it's called got bought for like $1.4 billion. They never made a single dollar.
It's all because Facebook, man. They value Instagram at $1 billion. Snapchat technically does more traffic.
Think about it. Every business is the same, right? It's like the same thing in baseball where Ryan Howard got a monster contract. And what causes every other player had even a more massive contract ahead of him. You set up this foundation, but one guy sets it up so large that it can't be justified. But now startups have all this leverage where they're like, well, they got $1 billion valuation and we're actually making $1. Well, congrats. Now you're worth $2 billion apparently, right? I mean, it's this really condescending thing. It's alarming. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I haven't wanted to get into investing yet, because this market's just is too unstable right now, and I can easily see what's going to happen. It's just follow trends. History repeats itself. It looks like it's about to repeat itself.
So, all right, this is the last thing. In 5 years, where do you see yourself, your companies, and what any other ventures that you're looking to explore?
I do have a product idea that one day I want to explore, but I don't think it's in 5 years thing. That's kind of a secret of mine right now, though.
Guys, do you see that? It's not even in 5 years. He's already looking that far down.
I'm pretty like 20 years locked down. Subtle is interesting. I've been very transparent about the plan with Subtle. We want to make it so everyone can understand it and put it on any device. We want to build native mobile apps for it. It's going to be the next year or two. We want to open it up so that technology can be put into mobile apps themselves versus just websites. We want to make it so it's customizable, so any aspect of the website, whether you're a blog, a static site, a dynamic site, a e-commerce, can handle through Subtle. But I think next 5 years, we want to open up the API so others can develop off of it.
Yeah.
We want to turn it into a real marketplace where it's just one hub for an entrepreneur, for a website, in order to get everything they need. And we do have some numbers we want to reach as far as market share on the web for who uses Subtle, and we have big goals with it. We really want to be the top player out there, where this is the most trusted, dependent upon product to get everything you need. Look at WordPress right now. I think they have 32% of the web uses them.
That's insane.
It's insane, but I mean, think about it. The fact that 30 to 32% is produced in the last 2 years. And then really sit down and think about that number for a second, right? Because, that's number one. Subtle is definitely in a direction where we want to innovate this product beyond just now, to the point of it's just so simple, it gets you, and that it's relevant to you. So I think next 5 years, you're going to see an open API, and you're going to see native apps, and you're going to start seeing that relevancy that we're constantly talking about and pushing, where it's a product relevant to your day-to-day life. And, there's ways for us as a business to monetize that aspect on top of what we have there. But for the most part, it's really ways to make our product more innovative and more intuitive to everyday life of people. For Chop Dawg's end, as I mentioned, we're trying to connect our services there. The Chop Dawg concept itself, we pretty much got the core down. It's been a 2-year game plan to get us to this point, and we got there. Now the game plan is pushing our value of our product. So we want to keep pushing startups, but we want to be able to sooner or later attract the top entrepreneurs and top people who want the top product. So this way we can do projects at a bigger budget range, while still keeping our core fundamentals. But we also want to introduce an investing incubator type round eventually in the next 5 years, where we can invest in kind of incubate locations for startups. And like I said, that's between both companies. It's big. Chop Dawg, we really want to have the goal of making 10 big companies through Chop Dawg in the next 5 years. And where's the numbers again? We already know how many people we need to deal with in order to have a ratio of where 10 could be successful like that. And then with Subtle, we we don't have projections just yet since we haven't opened it up to the public yet. But we have a belief that this could be a product that multi-millions of people will use every day and, can disrupt industries. And, just imagine, not just even Subtle itself making a new niche market, but just imagine what, this is what I was getting at before, giving these tools to everyday small business owners. But not just that, more so than ever before, more entrepreneurs are becoming a reality, especially college students, because it's actually the safer method versus actually waiting to find a job. So, and what's one thing, common characteristic about this generation is they love tech and they need tech and they want to use it, and building business is the same thing. So Subtle is actually a response to the upcoming generation, the upcoming people who've only grown with tech. And this is going to be a response to them because this is what they're already going to expect when they want to start a business. And this tool's out there.
Yep. And
it's kind of like with Twitter. Twitter's a little ahead of the curve. It's not going to surprise me. I can't validate this yet. Hopefully it's ready for now. There's a good chance Subtle's a product which is really gearing itself up for the next 5 years of people. But we have a long-term outlook. We realize day one that Subtle is going to take several years before it's a profitable company. But give everyday people the tools that us technical people take advantage of and make it a part of anything we use. That's the most powerful technology it is. Things you don't even have to think about, but it's there. It's subtle.
Hence the name. So I'm waiting to be added to the beta list.
We're doing a handful a day. In fact, I think the next handful gets sent out about 3 o'clock today. So
let everybody know how they can get Subtle, where they can contact you at, and where they can put in a bid for a proposal for Chop Dawg. So
Chop Dawg, simple. Go to chopdawg.com. Dawg is spelled D-A-W-G because that's what was cool at 16 years old.
Yeah.
For Get Subtle, you can get Subtle at G-E-T, Subtle, S-U-B-T-L-E.com. The B's Subtle. I think a lot of people spell that wrong. So, that's actually the correct way of spelling Subtle. You'd be surprised. But it's getsubtle.com. For me, you can contact me at joshua@chopdawg.com or joshua@getsubtle.com. Or you can follow me on Twitter. There's a couple of followers on there to follow me. It's twitter.com/DasJoshua, D-A-S, Joshua, spelled normally J-O-S-H-U-A.
All right, well, I thank you for taking time to talk with me, letting our viewers know about yourself, about what you're doing, what you're looking to do, and what you've already done. Wow, wasn't that some great stuff? I thank Josh for coming on the show and sharing his knowledge and his experience with us. Don't forget to tune in next Thursday to see our next guest, an author turned blogger /poet. I know you don't want to miss this one.